Hello, and welcome back to Weekly Wildlife Wisdom. As always, I'm your host, Zero Yeti. Let's go ahead and get into it with the first animal of the week, which is the Peruvian pelican. It is one of the 8 extant species of pelican and is native to the west coast of South America from the tip of Chile all the way up to Ecuador. These birds are dark in color with a white stripe from the top of their bill up to their crown and down the sides of their neck. They have long tufted feathers on the tops of their heads and were previously considered to be a subspecies of the brown pelican. However, the Peruvian pelican is considerably larger, ranging from around 10 to 15 pounds in weight and around 4 to 5 feet in length, with a typical wingspan of around 7.5 feet. The main breeding season occurs from September to March, and the clutch size is usually 2 to 3 eggs. Eggs are incubated for approximately 4 to 5 weeks, with the rearing period lasting around 3 months. The Peruvian pelican feeds on several species of fish, such as anchovies, sardines, which it catches by diving from a shallow height or feeding while swimming along the surface. On occasion, it may take other food items, such as the nestling birds of the imperial shags, young Peruvian diving petrels, turtle hatchlings, gray gold babies, and it may even cannibalize chicks of its own species. The West Indian manatee, or sea cow, is known as the North American manatee, is the largest surviving member of the aquatic mammal order known as Sirenia, which are distant relatives to elephants. It is further divided into two subspecies, the Florida manatee and the Atellan or Caribbean manatee, based on genetic and morphological studies. They are native throughout the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, and along the east coasts of North and South America from as far north as New England as far south as Brazil. Manatees are large, elongated marine mammals with paired flippers on the front and a large spoon-shaped tail. They can reach lengths of up to 14 feet and weights of over 3,000 pounds. Manatees are typically grayish-brown in color, with them ranging from light brown to a dark rust color. They have sparse hairs across their bodies with bristles about their muzzle which help them communicate and feed. They are obligate herbivores, feeding on a variety of aquatic plants such as water lettuce, eelgrass, turtle grass, seaweed, and manatee grass. They prefer to live in river deltas and seagrass meadows where they can be found traveling in aggregations, which is what a group of manatees is called, of up to 10 individuals. The West Indian manatee was listed as endangered under the Endangered Species Act of 1970, when there was only several hundred individuals left. In the decades since, I've witnessed significant efforts of federal, state, private, and nonprofit organizations to protect these species from natural and human-induced threats, particularly collisions with watercraft. These efforts have made some success, with now there being a global wild population of around 13,000 individuals. The North Atlantic right whale is a baleen whale and one of the 3 right whale species belonging to the genus Eublulandinae. They can grow up to 60 feet in length and weigh more than 100 tons. They are native throughout the North Atlantic, ranging from their feeding grounds near Greenland to their breeding grounds along the northwestern coast of Africa, and the northeastern coast of North America. Because of their docile nature and their slow surface skimming feeding behaviors, as well as their tendencies to stay close to the coast and their high blubber content, which makes them float when they are killed and produce high yields of whale oil, right whales were once the preferred target for whalers, and the whaling industry near completely wiped out the species, with a current total population of just 366 individuals worldwide. The North Atlantic right whale is one of the most endangered whale species on the planet, and although whaling was banned in 1937, vessel strikes and entanglement in fishing gear continue to be a massive threat to the continuation of the species. Next up is tardigrades, also known colloquially as water bears or moss piglets, are a phylum of 8-legged segmented microscopic animals. They were first described by German zoologist Wilhelm August Ephrem in 1773, who called them literal little water bears. In 1777, the Italian biologist Lazzaro Spanzani named them tardigrada, which means slow steppers. Tardigrades have been found everywhere in the Earth's biosphere, from mountaintop glaciers to deep-sea volcanoes, from tropical rainforests to the Antarctic continent. Tardigrades are among the most resilient animals known to science due to their remarkable ability to enter a cryptobiotic dormancy, which is basically they enter a sleep state, sort of like hibernation, and this enables them to survive extreme conditions such as exposure to extreme temperatures, extreme pressures, both low and high, air deprivation, radiation, dehydration, and starvation, all of which would quickly kill most other known forms of life. They have even been documented to survive the void of space, which is insane. There are about 1,300 known species of tardigrades, and part of the superphylum. They are part of the superphylum Ictodyszoa, which consists of animals such as arthropods and nematodes. The earliest known true members of this group from the fossil record can be found in Cretaceous amber, but these are essentially modern forms, and due to genetic evidence, it is therefore likely to have they are likely to have diverged from their closest living relatives in the Cambrian over 500 million years ago. Next up is the wild boar, also known as the wild swine or simply the wild pig. It is a suid native to much of Eurasia and North Africa. And they have been introduced to the Americas as well as Australia and throughout the Pacific Ocean, islands in the Pacific Ocean. The species is now one of the widest ranging mammals in the world, as well as the most widespread suniform. The wild boar is a bulky, massively built swine with short legs and relatively thin legs, typically around 3 feet high at the shoulder and ranging between 150 to 400 pounds in weight, depending on its habitat, with males generally being 20 to 30% larger than females. Although individuals upwards of 4 feet tall and 600 pounds are not unheard of, although they are very typically rare. Boars are typically social animals living in female-dominated sodders ranging from 6 to 30 individuals, consisting of barren sows and mothers with young led by an old matriarch. They are typically nocturnal, rooting through both grassland and woodland in search of food, which, as they are omnivores, comes in the form of fungi, roots and tubers, fruits and nuts, insects, eggs, and even small animals. When hungry, wild boar have even been known to hunt animals as big as turkeys and young sheep. With the exception of the domestic pigs in Timor and Papua New Guinea, which appear to have been descendants of the Sulawesi warty pig, the wild boar is the ancestor of most pig breeds, with archaeological evidence suggesting that the pigs were domesticated for around 13,000 to 12,700 BCE in the Near East along the Tigris River basin. Next up is the brown anole, or the brown anole, also known commonly as the Bahamian anole or De la Sagar's anole. It is a species of lizard in the family Dactyloideae. The species is native to Cuba and the Bahamas, but has been introduced to the island of Taiwan as well as mainland North America. Brown anoles are generally less arboreal, which means living in trees, than their slightly larger cousins, the green anoles, and are usually found on the ground or in low-lying vegetation. With a tolerance to drought and a diet consisting of insects, arthropods, crustaceans, and even the occasional fish, brown anoles thrive in almost any habitat they come across, and are often abundant in both suburban and even urban areas. They typically live between 4 and 6 years in the wild and sometimes 8 to 10 in captivity. They reach sexual maturity after 1 year after hatching, and typically breed in the summer months, depending on the climate, from March to April to August to September. After breeding, the female will lay 1 to 2 eggs every 7 to 14 days, burying them and abandoning them. If viable, the eggs will hatch about 7 weeks later, and the hatchlings that survive do so entirely on instinct. Like other anoles, brown anoles can change their color, ranging from light reddish-brown to dark black, with males sporting yellow, orange, or even red dewlaps under their neck. They average from 4 to 7 inches in length, and as a defense mechanism, the brown anole can detach most of its tail to avoid capture by a predator, such as a snake, bird, or cat, and then later regenerate the tail. And the extinct animal of the week is the Prionosuchus, which is a temnospondyl amphibian that lived in what is now northeastern Brazil during the Permian period between 300 million and 272 million years ago. It was surprisingly crocodile-like in appearance, with a snout similar to that of a gharial. Most specimens of Prionosuchus are fairly small, between 6 and 8 feet in length, but one exceptionally large individual, which had a skull of just over 4 feet in length, has yielded a truly terrifying proposition. Based off the skull estimates, the total body length achieved for Prionosuchus would have been around 30 feet in length, something that makes Prionosuchus possibly the largest amphibian known to ever exist. Most temnospondyl amphibians are perceived to have been hunters of aquatic organisms such as fish, invertebrates, and other amphibians. Due to its exceptional size, Prionosuchus may well have been the key apex predator of the Permian, with some suggesting that Prionosuchus would have been able to attack and kill almost anything else in the water, and even attack land-dwelling organisms that came out of the water to drink, similar in a manner to modern-day crocodiles. As always, take care to my guys, gals, and non-binary pals.